Hey, yo, what is up, everybody? How we doing? Welcome to round 2 of the Killjoy Jake live streams. We're doing one back-to-back. Did one yesterday. We're doing another one today. Screw it. Who cares? Let's have some fun, man. Jake is feeling a little better after yesterday. Had to cut yesterday short, but tonight we're going. We're going for it, baby. We're going fucking nuts. We're a minute 30 into this, I can swear. Screw it. We've got a few people I want to say hello to. What is up? What is up? Amy is with us tonight saying, hey, Dose. What's up, dog? Anyone enjoy my new profile picture? It's from Too Many Cooks. I just watched that like 2 nights ago. By the way, I love the house that Jack built. Great movie. From a crazy director, but we love it, man. Thanks for being here, Amy. I appreciate you. Oh, wait, yeah, that's, oh my God, the pie's name is Lars von Trier. Oh my God. Oh, that's so funny. You know what? I love the house that Jack built too. I didn't get that, Amy. That went right over my head. I love it. I love it. Gunner's talking about Scream 7, already getting into it, saying Melissa getting fired is absolutely disgusting. Spyglass should give up the franchise, give it to Blumhouse. Not going to talk about the politics or nothing like that, Gunner. Just want to make that so clear. I don't want to talk about the politics because that gets people all riled up and angry. But let's talk about movies. Let's do that. Let's keep the conversation there. In terms of Spyglass giving it up and all that, it seems like they've already shot themselves in the foot. Rumor has it that Nev Campbell has already said no to potentially coming back. That's not 100% confirmed. That is just a rumor. Just want to make that so unbelievably clear because I know some people are going to start freaking out in the chat, but I don't know, man. It seems like they're not making a whole lot of good decisions over there, at least from a business standpoint, I should say. VKD, what's up, dog? Thanks for being a Killjoy cult member. Saying 21,000 subscribers when? I don't even know, dude. Like, I'm so thankful this is happening. Like, thank you so much to everyone who subscribed just in the last month or so. I was saying earlier in the month, I'm like, November is typically my worst month. Like, I usually always, this page just seems to go down in November for some reason, but oh my God, I'm having the best month I've ever had on YouTube. So thank you all so much for the support. You guys are fantastic. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I'm speechless. Thank you so much for the support from everybody. And thank you too, VKD. Dylan has been here for a very long time. I appreciate the hell out of you, man. Thanks for hanging out on the streams and thanks for being a channel member, man. It does really mean a lot. Scott Walker is saying, how you going? How do you want to see Matthew Lillard or Stu return for Scream 7? How do you vision his return? How do you want to reveal him at the house or not? My perfect Stu reveal would be if it just didn't happen in the first place. Scott, I'm so fucking with you, man. Honestly, bring him back as another character. Me and my guest today, Marcus, I'm sure we're gonna get into it. I'm so excited for it. I got Marcus from I Shot Him 6 Times on today, and fuck it, let's just bring him on right now. Because I've been dying and itching to talk to this dude. I think itching is a gross word, right, Marcus? But what's up, dude? How you doing?
What's going on, brother? Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me on. It definitely has been a long time coming for us to, get together and talk some horror movies on a live stream, and we're going to get to it tonight. It's a hot topic right now, the horror industry, and where we're going, especially with Scream, with Terrifier. I definitely want to talk about some Terrifier with you, and it's a fun time. It's kind of a high and a low time to be a horror fan right now, but there's so many ideas and so many directions we can go with these franchises that I'm pretty sure we're going to come up with some good talking points.
Oh, yeah, dude, absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more. We got a lot to talk about and frankly, a lot to catch up on. Marcus, It's been way too long since we've been able to have a conversation. With that being said, fuck it. Let's just get right into it. What are, like, what's up, dude? Like, what's been the thing that you're, like, the most excited about in the horror space just over the past couple of months?
Well, I mean, Saw X was really good, so that was definitely a high point. I got to see that, but if I have to say what's the high point right now, it's the fact that we are getting some fresh new ideas out there that maybe a few years ago would have been possible. I feel like Terrifier. I was just talking to my mom about this. That I feel like Terrifier is going to be like the new, like kind of like Halloween, Scream. Like that kind of came in and resuscitated the franchise, and now we can start getting some fresh ideas. Like, did you see the trailer for Imaginary?
Yeah, I did. I did a reaction to it.
Like that looks really interesting. You know what I mean? So we're getting some cool ideas out there, and I think horror is still in a really good place. I just think, obviously, with all the Scream 7 news that is coming out, all the negative stuff, and all that, I just think that that's kind of like the low point right now. But what I would say is, hey, Scream isn't the only horror film or franchise out there. We have a plethora of new stuff and stuff that just came out that we can, feast upon and, talk about. So, fret not. Horror, listen, there's always these periods where horror kind of gets a little bit dense and it gets a little bit, not hot. Like, people kind of get tired of it. And then there's always that one that brings everything back, and then horror just makes a comeback, and it's the number one genre that everybody's talking about and wants to be a part of. So horror is going to be in a good place no matter what. We're just always going to have these dense periods at times.
Dude, you're spot on, man. I mean, it's a roller coaster following some of these movies. This past October for me was a little disappointing with some of the bigger releases, but last October was like one of the best maybe ever for horror movies. It was like, oh my God, every weekend there was something new at the box office that was just like, it was insane. It was crazy. Terrifier 2, Smile was the September before that, just off the top of my head.
See, I keep slacking because I have not seen it yet.
Dude, oh my God, you got to see that.
I haven't seen Smile yet, so that's something I'm going to have to get around to. I don't know why I keep prolonging the inevitable, but I just do. You know what I mean? So it's something I definitely got to get around to.
Dude, there's so many good movies out there. Like, I'll bring up stuff all the time, and people are like, I heard of that like a year ago, and I never got around to it. And I'm like, oh my God, you have to see it. There's so many 2022 releases that I'm going to recommend for the rest of my life. There's so many good ones. You just don't have time for all of them sometimes. It sucks.
Right. And I just think that's just what it is, too, is you don't have time. There's so much horror content that comes out all the time that it's just hard to keep up with certain things. I will say, the one I was able to catch, well, the two, was Bodies, 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 and Barbarian.
Oh, dude, absolutely. Both bangers right there.
I wasn't a fan of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I get why some people, but Barbarian, I liked Barbarian.
I really liked Barbarian too, man. That was one of my favorite horror films from last year. Like the twist in the middle, man. Right. Oh my God, that's insane. Like I just love it so much, man.
Absolutely.
But you liked Terrifier 2 that came out last year, right?
Absolutely, man. Like I remember really being so tentative getting to the Terrifier franchise because my mom's huge into it. Like I took her earlier this year to meet David Allen Thornton, all that and stuff. Like that's her guy. You know what I mean? So here I was tentative about watching it because I remember seeing her watch it one time, and the keys at time can be, and the score can be real low and kind of silent. You don't hear much of anything, and I'm a big guy when it comes to score. Like I want to hear a good horror movie score. So I just forget what scene it was on, but it just kind of looked like a weird, odd, boring scene. And I remember saying to her, like, what are you watching? And she's like, oh my God, this is like the new thing and it's so good or whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to even get into this, And then I got into it and man, it's good. And Terrifier 2, in my opinion, is better than the original, because of the story that we're getting. I am so excited to see what direction we're going to go with in Terrifier 3, but also, and it's funny because I was just watching one of your videos talking about Terrifier, and I agree with you when you said that possibly there could be like some family member stuff going on here, when it comes to Art and Sienna and all them and stuff like that, or there's something definitely there. They definitely have me intrigued on where this story is going. So I'm excited, man, for Terrifier 3.
Me too, man. That I think And I think so many people like came away from that movie, and no offense, I see some people in the chat saying this, but like I think it's so much more than just like the gory kills. That to me is like the cherry on top of this delicious, mysterious sundae of mystique and mythos, all this crazy shit that's going on in this movie. Right. Like, what the fuck is Art the Clown, dude? Who the fuck is this guy? Like, what is he doing? Why is he supernatural? Why does he like kill people with crazy precision and has fun doing it? Like, I have so many
Right.
questions. I think to me, it's so fascinating. I could watch 100 more of these movies that just build upon this insane mystery. I don't know. To me, I'm so excited for Terrifier 3. It's my number one most anticipated horror movie for next year, man. I'm so hyped. I cannot wait for it. With that being said, man, of course we're gonna get to more of that. I do want to say hi to just a few wonderful people out there in the chat tonight. We got Madison. What's up, dog? How's it going? Thanks for being a channel member. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Jordan Talks Films is with us tonight as well. What's up? What's up? How we doing? Victor Crowley Customs is saying, have you ever seen Hatchet? Have you seen Hatchet, Marcus?
Yes.
Do you like it? Are you a fan of that movie?
Shout out to Bob from Hunting for Entertainment because he got me into it. Yes, I like the Hatchet franchise a lot.
I do too. I think I got to do a rewatch, man. I wasn't losing my mind over that first one. I think I might need to do another watch.
Right. I think it works really well for what it is, and I do think Victor Crowley is a little bit underrated. I can see why maybe it may not be for some people, but I feel like if you're a fan of maybe 70s, 80s slasher type creature horror movies, this is it. Like that's why I like it, because it has that twist of creature slasher, this, that, and yeah, I enjoy it.
Oh yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna give it another watch, honestly, because I watched it I want to say right after I was getting done with the Friday the 13th marathon. So I think I was just I had that same flavor over and over again, and then it's kind of just it's more of that in a way. That's that's not really a criticism. They're just going for similar things. That's okay.
I think definitely you're spot on with that assessment.
With a cleansed palate, I think I'll enjoy that movie a lot more, if that makes sense.
Right. It does.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Legion is with us tonight as well. What's up, Legion? How you doing? Do you think Spyglass will kiss up to Nev's ass? Marcus, I'll throw this to you first. I want to hear your take on what's going on with everything behind this, all this crazy shit with Spyglass and Melissa Barrera being fired, Jenna Ortega leaving the project. Now, rumor has it that Spyglass wants Neve Campbell to be the lead of this new movie, and she apparently has said no. Once again, a rumor. But what is your take on all of this crazy shit?
Well, obviously, I don't agree with why Melissa was fired, but I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. But I think there's more to it than just, why she was fired, the reasoning what Spyglass said. I've come to think over the last couple of days, I had to put it in perspective. And I'm like, okay, so Jenna Ortega, she's a moneymaker right now. Melissa's going to cost a couple dollars. You got to bring Courtney back. You're trying to do all this stuff. Are you going to have the money for all that? I'm starting to think that Spyglass used Melissa as damage control, knowing that Jenna was either not going to be in this movie that long or at all. And if by just getting rid of Melissa, it's like, okay, we know for a fact that Jenna's not going to want to come back because of their relationship. So now you just took the biggest money draw that you have off the table. Well, who does that leave room for? That leaves room for Neve, because we know she wants the bag. And I mean, I just see it for what that is at this point. I think they did it as a way to clear money and salary for Neve to come back. I think that they are trying to make this a Sidney Prescott-centric Scream movie. I feel like maybe after 6, they might have just been like, you know what? I mean, we're not going to be here after Scream 7. We might sell the rights after Scream 7. Let's cash out. And let's just do this movie with Neve Campbell. You know what I mean? Because that's going to be our biggest money option. Yeah. It really is. A lot of people might not like that, but that's the truth of the matter. A legacy sequel for Scream 7, money-wise, when you talk about Scream fans, because there was as many Samantha Carpenter and Tara Carpenter fans as there wasn't fans of these newer characters and newer movies. So now a lot of those fans that didn't probably watch Scream 5 and Scream 6 because Nev wasn't going to be heavily utilized, because the story didn't surround her. Now a lot of those people are most likely going to come back. And I just think that in terms of cashing out and then selling the rights, I think that's where we're headed in terms of Spyglass. But it's a sucky situation because where they shot themselves in the foot at was you shouldn't have had these newer characters and these OG characters intertwined. You should have did an entirely separate story from the OGs. Because now, especially because you watched Scream 5 and Scream 6, if you did watch it, you're going to look at these OG characters and now you're going to wonder where the newer characters at.
Yeah, and you're spitting, Marcus. If I'm being honest, you're spitting here. Dude, I'm so worried that Scream 7 is gonna be this cash grab where we get as many people from the past as possible, throw them at this movie, and we just sugarcoat a turd. Essentially, you know what I mean? It's like, well, all of your favorite characters are in it, so it's got to be good. That's not a recipe for success with movies. You can't just throw fan favorite characters into a movie and expect it to be good and just be like, whatever with the plot. It's got Stu, it's got Nev, it's got Mark Kincaid. It'll be fine. That's not going to result in a good movie. I promise. I promise it's not after all this bad press. And I'm so worried about that. And I think every Scream fan should be, if I'm being real.
I don't blame you for that. I don't, especially because of the tone you set in Scream 5 and 6 is supposed to be like a whole requel and stuff like that. But I know a lot of people aren't going to be fans of this neither, but I do think we need to keep in the back of our minds that they might just recast the Carpenter sisters.
Oh my God, dude. I would lose my mind. I would lose my mind if they did that.
Bro, I know it's not the sexy choice. It's not the sexy choice.
I am flaccid thinking about that.
It's not the choice that anybody wants to see. But it's not something we haven't seen before in terms of studios and movies. And if they still want to keep this Carpenter Sisters storyline intertwined and told along with, Sydney's story for 7, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get just on some greaseball stuff and be like, yeah, we're just going to recast the Carpenter Sisters. And it is what it is.
Dude.
Me personally, I think, okay, you want Nev, you want Patrick, hopefully you get them. If you do your Sidney Prescott-centric movie, because it's obvious, it seems obvious that's kind of what you want. And then once you sell the rights, maybe there's a possibility for Scream 8, we revisit the Carpenter Loomis storyline. But man, they just they messed everything up.
They did. They messed it up. Wayne makes a great point here. It's distracting. Is the perfect way to put it. It would be so distracting. You'd be thinking about that the whole time. You're like, this is supposed to be Sam? Even if they get a lookalike, it's still going to be weird. It's still going to be a different person putting their own feel into the character. What if they recast Sidney Prescott? Dude, that would be awful.
Oh man,
that would be so bad. People would lose their minds, dude. People would be like, no way, we're not even seeing that. There's so many reasons why you can't remake Scream, and it's the same reason why you can't recast characters. It's the same. It's the same thing, dude. And it all comes down to the excellent character work that's been done in all 6 of these movies. And when you cut that, when you start cutting characters, we probably won't have Nev this time around if Spyglass is doing it. We know we don't have the Carpenter sisters. Dude, it's going to be a disaster. You need good characters. That's so important. I've heard people pitch they might do another reboot where it's just brand new characters again, but every time that the Scream franchise does that, it's going to be a huge risk. And listen, I love the new characters, I do, but it was a risk in Scream 5 to focus on entirely new characters again. That was a risk that Radio Silence took, and in my opinion, they were successful. I really like these last 2 movies.
I do too.
But I do think that, going back to my thought process moving into Scream 5, I'm like, oh my God, like we're going to focus on new characters. Like that's scary, dude. I don't know if that's going to work for Scream. And I feel the same way I did then that I do now, that I just don't know if it's going to work a second time around.
Right.
One of the biggest things is characters in Scream. That's what separates it from your Friday the 13th, your Halloweens. Yep. And now you're screwing over these wonderful actors and actresses that that work in this franchise. And what are they going to do? Like, what the fuck are they going to do, Marcus?
I have no idea, Jake. I'm counting on Christopher Landon because I really like his style. You know, of course, I hope it's, not going to be as funny centric as his other horror movies are, even though does well doing that. Scream is just not that. But I'm optimistic we're going to get something. But if Nev is saying no, if this rumor is true, I might have to shut it down, buddy. We might have to shut it down until Spyglass sells the rights.
I think that might be what will have to happen. I mean, how could they possibly do another reboot without any big legacy characters? I mean, maybe they get Courtney Cox or Hayden Panettiere or something like that, but still, it would almost be distasteful if everyone says no and then they still make a movie. You know what I mean?
I feel like, and hey, if this is, you can have your opinion on it. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to see, that's what you want to see. I see a lot of fans talking about a Kirby Reed centric, style Scream, and where are we going with that? Like, I don't know, where do we go with that? That to me is just like a shoe-in. To me, Kirby works better with the other legacy characters, like Gail, like Sydney, like. She works better with a compliment. Like the main story being focused on her. I don't know, man. I don't know, man. This is a clusterfuck. I don't know why they decided. It's like, listen, everybody has the right to their own opinion on whatever situation it may be. Why should it bother you that much for you to not be able to do business? You know what I mean? Like, I don't get this landscape with that stuff. And it really messed things up for the Scream franchise. And I hear people saying that, with that Variety post, that Variety is saying, oh, that Jenna and Melissa were never signed on for 3 movies. Hey, I'm not behind the scenes here. I have no idea. I don't know about these contracts. But if I'm being honest, I call bullshit. Because there's no way after Scream 6 you hear these interviews with Radio Silence. You hear the interviews with Jenna and Melissa, and they're all but adamant. Like, oh, yeah, we can't wait for our direction in Scream 7. Well, if there's no deal on the table, why are they speaking in that way?
Yeah.
Like, why are they speaking as if they're going to be in Scream 7? So that whole, oh, no, they were only signed on for 2 movies, to me, that's hogwash. You know what I mean? Like, they were supposed to be in this movie. It didn't work out due to some unforeseen circumstances. And now we got to go back to the drawing board. And the funny thing about it is, Jake, we don't know what that drawing board is.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it,
dude. You're spot on, man. I mean, you're spot on. I'm terrified. I'm terrified with whatever happens next, because I just don't know if I have faith in this company with after all this crazy shit. We see so many people online boycotting the film already. I've seen so many memes about Spyglass just in the past week, like more than I think I ever have regarding like a boycott of a studio. Mind you, I follow horror movies. Maybe not. I don't know what's going on in the Disney side of things. I'm sure people have ripped that studio apart for years now. But like, man, I mean, the spy ass is something I've been seeing a lot. How do you feel about? I'm curious how you feel about that. Like, are you on the boycott Scream 7 train now, or no?
I'm not particularly on the boycott Scream 7, because my whole thing was this. Okay, and I did a video about this the other day, And I see a lot of fans also like tagging Nev, like saying, you should not be in Scream 7. Don't you dare do it. All this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, one, how you going to tell this woman not to take a role to feed her family? That's number one. My whole thing is this. I get where you're coming from because of what they did to Melissa. But Melissa supported Nev in her decision not to come back to Scream 6, right? Did that stop Melissa from doing Scream 6? No.
No, and they both said very positive things about each other and the films and stuff at the time. I don't believe there's any malice there between any of these people.
But unfortunately, you know, some people really want that to happen in terms of like Nev turning the movie down because of what happened to Melissa. And I'm just like, listen, I get you're upset about that, but you shouldn't tell, you know, Nev Campbell not to try to feed her family if they come at her with a good offer and come back and say you're going to be mad at her if she does take the role. Like, I'm not on board with that. I put it this way, man. I feel where everybody's coming from. I get it. You know what I mean? Trust me, I am a Samantha Carpenter fan. They fucked up so many of my theories that I had for her. Like, they destroyed a lot of stuff.
Well, like, dude, we're never going to see her become the killer, man. Like what the fuck?
Come on. They messed up such a good avenue, you know? But I'm not going to sit there and say I'm going to boycott Scream 7. I didn't do that when Scream 5 was announced and they said that Nev Campbell wasn't going to be the main focus. I said, you know what? This is a good direction to go in. We've had so many movies surrounding Sid's story. It's time to start veering off into a different direction. We're going to have to get used to that. We are. In order for this franchise to move into when we're fucking in our 70s and 80s, Jake, in order for this franchise to live on forever like we hope it could, you know what I mean? We've got to move off of Sidney Prescott and start telling new stories some way or somehow. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to boycott Scream 7. I mean, if that's what you choose to do, hey, by all means, that's your choice. Me personally, I hope that they just get this shit situated. I really do hope that we get lucky and maybe Spyglass does sell the rights sooner than what we expect. So then maybe, just maybe, we might have an outside chance of getting Melissa and the gang back. Maybe push the movie back a little bit longer. But oh no, man, it ain't looking too good right now. It's scary. Like you said, it's really scary. You know, if you're a Scream fan right now, it's like you at least have it in the back of your mind, is this movie going to even get done?
Yeah. No, and you know, Marcus, to jump off of that, I think the biggest thing for me right now is I see a lot of people who are already saying things like, yeah, I'm boycotting the movie. I'm kind of with you. I respect it, but I'm going to follow the updates. Like, I'm going to follow the updates up until it comes out. And then I'll make my decision. You know what I mean? Because what if this gets cleared up? I mean, I don't think it will, but you never know. I've been very pessimistic with all these updates and stuff lately, and I've been very like, oh my god, like this is a disaster. This is such an apocalyptic state for this wonderful franchise, which sucks. But I'm gonna follow the updates. I want to see where this rabbit trail goes.
I agree with that, man, and rightfully so. I that's why I said, like, I told a lot of people in my videos and on my channel, I'm like, listen, guys, let's be optimistic here. You know what I mean? It's not like Christopher Landon's a bad writer, bad director. He's got great ideas. Let's relax, see what we're gonna get. You know what I mean? Let's wait for some more news, some more backdrop, and then you make your decision on what you're gonna do. You know what I mean? A lot of people are just overreacting just a little bit too fast. I get it. You're in your emotions. Let's dial it down. Let's just, give it a chance. Let's see. It's just like the Andrew Case, if I'm not mistaken, on Twitter, he said, I remember there was the same type of reaction for Scream 6 with Nev. I'm not going to see the movie. I'm boycotting Scream 6.
Yep.
And what happened?
It made more money.
Everybody's asses was in the fucking theater. Everybody went out to see that movie. With their popcorn, their Skittles, you know what I mean? Like nachos and cheese, everything. Everybody still went out to see Scream 6. So it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? I'm optimistic for this movie, man. I'm not going to be on that whole boycott train or nothing.
Dude, I respect it though, and I'm with you here too, because I trust me, I'm pissed. Like, if I'm being real, dude, I'm furious. I'm just as upset as the next guy, as the next Scream fan, I should say. But I want to see where this goes, because I have to know. I have to know what happens next. I also have to know what the first trailer for whatever this film is going to be will look like. Like, I really think by the time we see that, we're gonna know what this film will look like. For the people who have been following the updates, if we see this trailer and we see a lack of creativity, we see a lack of like characters that we're familiar with, which I think now is a factor. I've been so back and forth with who I want to see in Scream 7, what stories I want to be told. But I think right now I'm at this space where we got to have somebody, and if we don't, it's telling as to what's going on behind the scenes. If we're starting off with brand new characters again, I think this movie's going to be ass. And I only say that because the reason we do that, the reason we go down that path is because we don't want to continue the story. We don't want to go down what the original route was for Scream 7. No. We want to just make a movie because of what you were talking about earlier. Spyglass wants to cash out. They want to make their one last little movie for as cheap as they possibly can, maybe bring in $100 million and call it a day, give the rights to somebody else. And that would be so fucking awful, dude, because this is a 6 for 6 franchise, in my opinion. I love all 6 of these bad boys. I really don't want the last one to be a stinker for, in the foreseeable future.
No, I agree with that, man. Like especially like you just hit the nail on the head right there. We have 6 good movies that are rewatchable in this franchise. Like, even if you like one more over the other, you can't really say there's a bad Scream movie. There's really not a bad Scream movie.
Dude, listen, I shit on Scream 3 all the time, but like, there's so much to love about that movie. Like, there so much. It's so ambitious, and I appreciate films that do that. Even if I don't think Scream 3 was successful at that, it's an ambitious movie that tries to do so much, and I'm like, you know what? I fucking respect it. I respect the hell out of it, and it's not a bad movie, in my opinion.
Right, and that's the beautiful thing about the Scream franchise. Like, when you really look at it, it's like every single one of those films you can pop on and rewatch them.
I think so. I think all of them have something to offer, even if like you were saying, even if you like some more than the others, they all have something to offer. And if Scream 7 just comes out and it's this, like, okay, we threw a bunch of fun characters from the past in there because people needed money, dude, I'm gonna lose interest so fast. Like, that would suck.
What do you think? Let me ask you about this, because this was actually supposed to be an idea. This is supposed to be an idea for the Scream TV series, right? And this is something that Destin brought up behind the scenes after we got done doing our Saw ranking with Flet last night, or whatever. What if the opening of Scream 7, right, is basically like, before we get to the opening scene attack, opening scene of kill, whatever, right? What if how they explain the Carpenter sisters story, right, is basically it's a stab movie. Everything we saw the last 2 films was them shooting the new stab movies. And then basically we're going to shoot into Scream 7 and it picks up with Sydney and all that. Like, how would you feel about that? Like, because I heard something about the Scream TV series was supposed to be, basically the Lakewood story was supposed to be fake. And then in the 3rd season, they were basically going to intertwine the actors from the Lakewood story with Sidney Prescott and all that stuff, and then merge these stories together. Like, how would you feel about that? I'd have to give it some more thought, but I don't know how I feel about that at this time.
I almost like there's just a few gaps in logic that I think would be tough to explain, because you do have like Gail and Nev in those movies, so it's like they're not played by Tori Spelling, for instance, for Sydney, so it's like what's up with that. I also like I can see commentary coming from that about the situation right now and everything that's going on, but I don't feel like Spyglass would want to touch that with a 6-foot pole right now. And that's the biggest problem. Like that's honestly the biggest problem with whatever Seven's going to be, is I just feel like whatever the commentary angle of it is going to be, if it's under Spyglass, I don't think it's going to work. I feel like it's going to be about something that's either tone deaf or something that we just simply won't agree with, and it'll probably be like kind of personal and weird. Like I'm so worried about that being an angle to it, and I'm like, if the studio makes Christopher Landon and the writers like force that into the plot, I'm gonna be so disgusted. I'm gonna be like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, what the fuck? I loved in Scream 6 when they jokingly, kind of nudged the fans a little bit, gave a little jab with, the stew. They kind of ribbed the stew fans a little bit. And also the people who hated Melissa Barrera too in the previous film. There was a little. It wasn't anything malicious. It was just joking here and there.
Just messing with people.
That was fun, but I'm so worried that, in 7, it's going to get personal. It's going to be like, you guys thought our decision was bad? Well, you're all a bunch of idiots, And like, that's what the movie's about. Dude, I would walk out. I'd be like, are you kidding me, dude? This is so studio. This is so cold. Fuck that, man. I'm so worried about that.
I would hope they don't let it get to that point. If they did, it's one, going to be noticeable. And then 2, like, oh man, you talk about piss a lot of people off. Like, man, if they did some shit like that with Scream, that would really that would suck, because now you're just being petty as a studio just because fans didn't like your decision. Like, that's dumb. Like, my thing is this: the movie don't sell without us. So, like, you kind of need it, Jack.
We're the butts in the seats, dude. We're the butts, okay? Yes. You need the butts in the seats. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely. And that's why I feel like some of these studios, they do forget. It's like, what are you doing here? Are we, the fans, not important here? Like, damn it, you done got us all attached to these new characters and all that stuff, and then you're just gonna take them. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, how dare you? Like, what is like? I don't get it, man. But hopefully, it gets cleared up. I've heard somebody say this, and I want your opinion on it. I don't believe it's a ruse. I don't believe this whole thing is a ruse. But somebody brought up the idea of Melissa basically coming in at the end of Scream 7 and being, one of the killers. And that this whole Spyglass firing her was just a ruse so that they could reveal her as a killer in the end and not have to feature her throughout the whole movie. How would you feel about that? I don't know how I would feel about it. I know how I would feel about that. I wouldn't like it, because if you're going to do that, you could have still just had her in this movie full time. It would have made that a lot more intriguing, because it adds to the fact that she's been right in front of us this whole time.
So here's the thing. If they were going for something like that, I don't think they would have made an accusation the way that they did. You know what I mean? Like, this is a serious accusation towards Melissa Barrera. Like, we're calling her certain words that could end her career in Hollywood. She's being canceled right now. Shit is coming. Reports are coming out that she might be losing jobs, and that the movie she's making with Radio Silence, I don't believe, is moving forward anymore. Like, a lot of weird things like that. So I don't think that's the case. And if they were to do something like that, I mean, just a simple she's fired, or not even she's fired. She's just off the project, quietly exits it and doesn't say anything else but that. There's something malicious happening behind the scenes. I don't know, where that's coming from.
You're definitely right about that.
But I see where that's coming from, though. I think a lot of people, like, that would make sense if they had some crazy twist planned or something, and maybe they decided to do it like a week before the movie came out, you know, and say like, oh,
Right.
Melissa's not in the movie, you know, like, sorry, scheduling conflict. It wouldn't be as like malicious as it is right now, you know, like there is some negative connotations with everything that's been going on, some weird things behind the scenes that we just simply don't know about. But real quickly before we go any further, I do want to say hi to some more people that have entered the chat. Chrissy is with us. What's up, Chrissy? How you doing? Saying I like the Terrifier 3 poster on your wall. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I got a Thanksgiving back there too. Dude, they were giving those out at the screening. I had no idea they were going to do that. So now I got 4 posters on the wall. I'm super happy.
I know that's right.
Hell yeah, man. Destin is with us tonight too. What's up, dog? How you doing?
You, Destin.
What's up, man? You got to come on the page too at some point, man. Holy shit. It's been too long. It's been like a month, but it's been too long. Gory Tiger, what's up, dog? How you doing? Welcome in. What else is going on here? I think I said hi to you, Wayne, already, but hello again. What's up? Scream 7 double funeral. Sam and oh man, you want to just like kick the dirt in our eye and then rub it in. Jesus, damn, that's
Damn.
that's fucked
real.
up. Sarah's saying that's why I'm always confused when people shit on fan service. Like, sir, I'm a fan and I want to be serviced. Let's
go.
That's really funny, Sarah. You got a point. Yeah, you got a good point. I can't argue with that. Shit.
Yeah, but I also understand where like too much fan service can it can kill it too. You gotta kind of find an in between point to serve the casual fan and a newer audience as well. So you definitely got to basically bend but not break all into the fan service. It's cool to have fan service, you know what I mean? But you got to do new things too.
I think the best fan service that you can possibly put in a movie is not egregious references to the past, but just telling a good story in an already existing franchise. Like, if you can make Scream 7, which is the 7th installment in a franchise, not something that's typically known to be good. If you can make this movie and make it something special, that's fan service to me. If you can make it something worth watching on its own without having watched the other films, that's fan service. I love that. Like, I think when you have people who, just make movies where it's like, here's these characters from the past. They're back. They're old now, but they're back, Like, that doesn't always result in a good product. Sometimes it does. Like, yeah. But most times, I don't know. Like, you have movies like Star Wars 7, you have movies like the Jurassic World films, which like me personally, I'm not crazy about. That seems to be a little more divisive, but I don't know, just not really for me, man. So
right.
I'm with you. I think they can go too far with it, but a little bit of fan service isn't bad. Why not? Why not throw a little bit in there?
Yeah, just listen. I'm a astute truther, man. If that's the only thing fan service wise you give me at the end is that this guy is still alive and he does, he's been doing this whole cult thing and everything makes sense, I'm cool. But if you give me a whole bunch of new stuff around that I could sink my teeth into for the future, I'm even happier. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I want for it. Like, I just want there to be like one real big thing that's quote unquote fan servicey, but then the rest of everything else ties into it so well where I could see new fans being like, yo, I love this. Let's keep seeing more of this so that we can keep getting more Scream movies.
Yeah, I want more of them. I think there's not too many franchises out there that can go on forever, but Scream is one of them, dude. Like,
I believe so too.
There's so many tools in this franchise's tool belt. There's so much it can do forever, and there's always going to be something in the horror world to comment on. I mean, listen.
Absolutely.
Jordan Peele made a movie last year about that like was commenting on many things, but one of those things is about how like animals are treated poorly in the film world. That is such a esoteric and niche thing to comment on in your movie. Like, name another movie that comments on that. I can't.
That's a good point.
Like, why can't Scream get into some weirder horror things to talk about? I mean, we talked about elevated horror in Scream 5. We talked about the franchise itself in 6, remakes in 4. Every movie kind of has a thing to latch onto, and I think that's so cool. We can do that forever. There's always going to be something new to talk about in the horror landscape. Keep it rolling, man.
Right, agreed.
Ty is saying a total difference would be nice, like Wrong Turn versus the OG Wrong Turn. Scream 7 could do something like that, not Mountain Men or nothing, just reinvent it. What do you think about that? Like just reinventing the franchise? This would essentially lead to new characters too, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it depends on how you plan on reinventing the franchise. Does reinventing the franchise mean no Ghostface? Maybe we go with a different style of look for a killer. You know, like how exactly do you mean, you know, like reinventing the franchise? Now, if you're always going to have Ghostface, then in my opinion, I get it. You know, Ghostface is like, you know, the Michael Myers, you know what I mean? That's what we come to see, you know what I mean? But at the same time, in order to get different, you might have to venture. That's one thing I liked about the Scream TV series. I know a lot of people didn't, but they have their own identity. They have their own mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
And in order for this franchise to kind of distance itself from Sidney Prescott and the cliche Ghostface, you might have to switch it up for a movie and go with a different look. You just might have to. You know what I mean? That's one thing I give you credit for with your Red Right Hand movie. You had the Devil Ghostface mask in there. Like, that's something different. It's not just the casual. You know what I mean? Like, let's spice this shit up a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, let's give some different looks. You know, the killer doesn't always have to be Ghostface. One of the things that we start off, before we even see the Ghostface costume and them chasing after people, it's just a person on the phone.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a really good point.
You know what I mean? So, like, there's so many ways that, in my opinion, you can try to reinvent Scream. I get it. It's not going to be as iconic as Ghostface, because ever since, I mean, Ghostface has always been iconic, but since Scream 5 has, you know, came back out, the franchise is rejuvenated. Ghostface is a hotter commodity now than I feel like it was a few years ago.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's in demand. So I get it. You know, some will say, oh, you know, you can't have a Scream movie without Ghostface. Actually, in my opinion, you can if you try.
I mean, you know, that it's arguable. But we did just get a movie where, you know, Michael Myers really wasn't the main antagonist of that movie. Now, I will say majority response to it was negative, but there's a large and very, very vocal minority of people that love the film and think it's one of the best in the franchise. So, I mean, you never know, man. You could make something like that and it could be epic. It could be awesome and maybe someone will really dig it. I came out of Halloween Ends thinking that was going to be a big miss for people, but it wasn't. It really wasn't. I mean, majority of people, once again, but there's a big group of people that fucking love that movie, and I think that's awesome. I'm like, shit, okay, maybe we can make a Halloween movie without Michael Myers. So you never know, man. You never know what can work, and you got to test those waters. I think is the biggest thing. You know, horror is all about doing things outside of the box, and I'm always game for it. I'm always game for something ambitious like that, even if it falls flat. You know, it's like, hey, we tried.
Yeah,
we tried to do that. Some movies won't even try to be different.
Dare to dream. Don't, you know what I mean? You have to dare to dream in the horror genre. Otherwise, you're just going to keep falling flat with the same stuff. You know what I mean? If you at least use your imagination and put everything together, shit can come out real well. It's been done plenty of times before.
I mean, Halloween 3, I think, is a prime example. Like,
I was just explaining this to my buddy the other day because he's like, "Are you serious? Halloween 3 it doesn't even have Michael in it." I said, if you think about what Halloween, the seasonal aspect of it, the spirit aspect of what Halloween is supposed to be, Halloween can be anything. It's a great Halloween movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Yes, no, dude, I'm with you, man. Elm Street's Last Brat is with us tonight. Thank you so much for the $5, man. I appreciate it, and thanks for being a Killjoy cult member. Holy shit, thank you so much, dude.
What's up.
Saying what's up, guys? It's been a while. What's up, dog? How you doing? How you feeling about all this Scream shit that's going on, man? We're just venting about it. But please voice your opinion in the chat, man. I'm curious what you think. Curious. Thanks for being here, man, though. I appreciate you. Thank you for the $5 as well. Hell yeah. Thanks for the support, dog. Hollywood Guy's also throwing $5 out there. Look at this Hollywood Guy here. We appreciate it, man. Killjoy cult member and everything. Jake, do you see Spyglass continuing the franchise, or will someone else take over? Marcus, I'll throw that to you first, man. So do they give up the rights? Do they give it to somebody else? Is that even something that's in the cards? You know, like that's a big question right now that I hear from a lot of people. He's saying no. Shit.
The only reason why I say no is because they know, listen, this is why I do think we are going to get a legacy sequel, cash out, big stars, Matthew, Nev, if Nev accepts it, Patrick Dempsey. The reason why Spyglass is not going to give this up just yet is because they've seen how much money Scream can make. They're not letting the bag go. If they can squeeze the bag and make more money off Scream 7, they're going to. And then that's it. Then they will give up the rights. But as of right now, I personally do not see them giving up the rights to where they're not giving up the rights before Scream 7 is done. You know what I mean? I will be shocked if they do, because it's just too much money that they're giving up. So, unfortunately, no, I don't see Spyglass anytime before Scream 7 is made selling the rights. After Scream 7 and they collect one more check off of, the Scream franchise, yeah, Scream will be as free as a bird in the summertime. Somebody will have the rights, and we won't have to worry about the Spyglass anymore. But up until Scream 7 gets made, they're cashing out. They're cashing out for sure, in my opinion.
I think you're spot on again, man. The reason I say this too is because like pretty much every studio has made 3 requel movies in their respective franchises. You know, if it's Universal with the Jurassic World movies, who even at one point said we might make a 4th. And fuck, they still might, because Jurassic World Dominion, being a piece of shit, however you feel about it, whatever, it still made $1 billion at the box office, dude. Money talks. And it's the same thing here. Scream 6 made more than 5. So of course they're going to make a 7, even if it's shit. And even if it's a movie that nobody asked for, they're probably going to make it, and they're not going to just give up the rights, you know? And I think that sucks. Like, trust me, if you're hearing this right now and you're like, that's awful, why would anyone do that? For money. If I'm being real.
That's
and
it.
I'm so worried that's what this movie's going to be at this point, because like Spyglass is looking at all of this. They're not just like, oh, block people who are saying, nasty things about us. No, they're looking at all of this, and they're saying to themselves right now, how can we make this next movie a better product so people come to the theaters to see it? Or how can we tease that this might be a better product than what came before it? How can we put that in the trailer? Who do we have to cast? What do we do to make this thing work? And I'm just so worried it's going to be this spraying candy coating over a fucking turd. Like, that is what I'm thinking it's going to be right now. And I know that's so pessimistic. I want to be wrong, though. That's what I'll say to conclude that. I want to be so fucking wrong, but I'm so worried I'm right.
No, I mean, you have every right to feel that way, because in so many ways it already is. Because, again, where they fucked up at by doing this, by firing Melissa, and that, basically all but forced Jenna to say, okay, I'm not even going to do a cameo, is the fact that you had Samantha Carpenter and Sidney Prescott and Gail Weathers and all these fucking characters meet. You had them intertwined with each other. Had you would have left the OG characters out to begin with and just focused on these new characters, this new story, the Chronicles of Billy Loomis's daughter. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have to worry. We wouldn't have to worry about this. But now, because you did do that, and you did that in a way, in my opinion, if you go back and watch Scream 5, I don't know. You know what I mean? There's a certain way. I never, and it could be writing. I never agreed with how Sydney was towards Sam. She was too trusting. That to me is not Sydney Prescott. There's a reason she was too trusting to fucking Sam in that movie, and I wanted to explore that. You know what I mean? I wanted to explore their relationship a little bit longer. Like, how did Sydney know that Sam was Billy's daughter? Gail and Dewey didn't know, you know, like, or at least we didn't get the confirmation of that. So there's things that could have, you know, happened in Scream 7 from a Sid and Samantha standpoint that now we're not going to get.
That's a great point, though. How did she know? Like, did she, you know, find out after like Scream 1?
I personally, if you want to know my theory for it, bro,
I do.
This is how I envisioned Scream 7 capping off. Because just like Scream 3, it's gonna, you know, it all goes back to the past. Whatever you think you know about the past, forget it. We all assume that Christina Carpenter is Samantha Carpenter's mother. But what if Sydney is actually her mother? And I say that because
okay. Yeah.
The reason why I say that is because the way Sydney treated Samantha, and how else did you know that was Billy's daughter when nobody else did, like the other two didn't? And then you put a tracker on her car. Like, these are all things that somebody, like a protective person, would do. This had nothing other than, you know, basically trying to avenge Dewey's death. Sydney didn't have no reason to treat Samantha that way. Like, that was too protective, in my opinion. You know what I mean? You don't know if Samantha could be the killer. She could be luring you in, Sydney. You're supposed to be the veteran here at this shit. You're supposed to be Sydney fucking Prescott, and you're just walking right into the trap. Why are you walking into the trap like that? There's a reason, in my opinion, and I felt like that's something they could have explored. Maybe Sydney gave Samantha up for, maybe that night after losing her virginity to Billy, she got pregnant with Samantha. Didn't want to have Billy Loomis's kid, so she gave it up for adoption, a la Roman Berger Marine Prescott.
Yeah, a similar story, you know, for sure, like, without a doubt.
Like, basically, and then like in Scream 7, you explore that more, and if you were going to turn Sam into the killer or reveal that she basically put this all together all through these 3 films, then maybe that's the big secret about Sydney, and she did the same thing her mother did with Roman, and that's gave her kid up. Now her kid is like, yeah, now not only did you kill my father, but you gave me up, so now I'm going to just basically make your life hell even more. I killed Dewey. You know how bad that hurt. Oh. I tried to kill Gail. Maybe in Scream 7 we get her. But basically, I'm going to basically tear you down, and you tear your entire world down because of what you did to me and shit like that. Like, I had a feeling they could go in that direction because look how much they mirrored Scream 1 and Scream 2 with 5 and 6.
Like having 3 have some kind of similar twist where all of you know something was going on the whole time. I definitely think that could have been part of whatever the original plan was for 7, but you know we're definitely not going to get that now.
And that's the sad thing, because I felt like if they would have did it right, it could have actually been okay and worked.
Dude, you never know, man. It's a shame, and maybe we'll never know. But hey, who knows what this new script for Scream 7 is going to look like? Who knows who actually gets cast in the film at this point, man? It's why I'm, like I said earlier, I'm following the updates. I want to see what happens. But Hollywood Guy, thank you for the $5, man. I really appreciate it. Holy shit. Got through a whole theory in this live stream. We're eating tonight. We're doing good, man. Olaf the Snowman is with us too. The Snowman. from the movie. How about them apples? Thank you so much for the $10, man. I appreciate you. And Olaf the Snowman is on the stew train, so there you go, Marcus.
Let's go.
Gotta run the stew train while I'm here. If they can bring Kirby back and figure out a way that they can figure out how Stu survived. Hashtag Stu lives. I always come back. So Marcus, you're on the stew train yourself, man. Hit me with your perfect scenario where he comes back at the end of 7.
I think it's actually go back to the well that you were originally going to do, but just not make it as obvious that that's what you're doing. The whole cult of, ghost faces, Stu Macher is behind the cult. He's the one basically operating it, but it doesn't look like it's a cult. It looks like it's just maybe regularly 1 or 2 killers. You know what I mean? Maybe you give us the false illusion that it is more than 1 killer, and then at the end, everybody that we didn't think was involved with it, and they're all tied to Stu in some shape, way, or form. Me personally, just because of some stuff that I caught on in 5 and 6, and hey, could it just be small references that don't lead to anything? Yeah, sure. But me personally, I always thought that, okay, if you're going to go this killer comeback route with Stu Macher, like we've never had a Ghostface killer survive before. Why not just go for 1? Why not go for 2? You know what I mean? I personally think, you could do that with Charlie Walker. I think Charlie Walker would be the perfect person to pair with Stu in this type of cult of Ghostface environment, especially if Stu is behind the Stab subreddit, just because of Charlie's time as a Woodsboro Cinema Club member, knowing how to social media post, do all that new age technology stuff that we do today. He would be a lot more familiar with it than Stu would, and I don't think we're going to get that, but it would be nice to see. But I think that would be the best way to bring Stu back, is as the leader of the cult of Ghostfaces, and somehow, some way, it's not just about, oh, you guys forgot about me, and you guys thought I was dead, so on and so forth, but maybe he knows something from back in the day that we don't know about in terms of Sydney, this and this and that. Now he's going to blow the whole roof off the place in that regard as well. Like, I think they could do it if it's written the right way, but we'll see, man. But I'm definitely on board with that. I think it's possible that you can bring Stu back. I mean, Matthew Lillard himself, he wants it to happen. You know what I mean? Like, he believes that it can happen. And I feel like if the actor itself believes it can happen, make it happen. You know what I mean? Just let it happen one time. If there is anybody who should come back and scream as a killer, even if it's just 1, it should be Stu.
And, I honestly agree that if they do bring somebody back, yeah, make it Stu. I just feel like my draw to these movies is like the fact that we get somebody new every time,
right,
with a brand new motive, and we are starting to lose that a little bit. And I feel like once we step into the territory of we're bringing back killers, that's what it's going to be about. Then Scream 8's going to be about, let's bring back Emma Roberts, because she's fucking popular. And that's what I'm so worried about. I'm like, I don't want Scream to become that. I love Stu. Like, he's my favorite Ghostface. Right. Like, without a doubt, dude. Like, no one's topping him. Like, I'm going to keep watching these movies, and I'm so excited for 7, 8, 9, whatever. Make 100 Scream movies. You're never going to top Matthew Lillard as Stu, in my opinion. But I just don't know. I don't know if bringing him back's the right way to do it. But what I will say, Marcus, is that it's not an impossibility. Like, I think it's absolutely in the cards that 7 will feature Stu as the killer, whether people like to hear that or not. And I'm going to keep saying it. I'm like, it's in the cards, dude. They're considering it because Matthew Lillard is one little, one contract away from being so fucking down to do that.
Oh, bro.
Just like what you were saying, man.
Bro, like, everybody caught that. The way he performed in Five Nights at Freddy's was a direct shot to the Scream franchise saying, bring me back. Like, I want to come back as Stu. Like, the knife wipe,
he wipes the blade the same way. He takes off the fucking hat, and it's like, yeah, dude. And by the way, we're not spoiling anything about Five Nights at Freddy's. You can tell from the trailer he's the bad guy. He's literally named after the bad guy from from the game
video
series.
games.
They reveal it as like a twist, but it's not. Like, it's not a twist. Like, come on.
Right.
But yeah, but no, but dude, like, honestly, I saw that in Five Nights at Freddy's, and I'm just like, this guy's gearing up to come back to Scream. Like, that's honestly something that was going through my head. And I wouldn't be shocked. I really wouldn't be. I personally would not be a fan of it, but I wouldn't be shocked if it happened. That's all I'm going to say. But Olaf, I appreciate that you want it to happen, though, and I know it'll bring so many people joy, which is why there is a silver lining to it, in my opinion. So, Olaf, thank you for the $10, my friend, and thank you so much for becoming a member as well. I really appreciate that, dude. Thank you.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Daniel K is also throwing something out there that I wanted to throw at you, Marcus. What would you think about a non-meta, just dark Scream film?
Man, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, I get it. You know, the whole meta aspect is what, you know, kind of made Scream what unique in its own way and what it is. But, I mean, I kind of already feel like we're heading down that dark path. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. With some of the writing faux pas in 5 and 6, you can definitely break down the goofiness in Scream 5 and 6. You know, but the tone is a lot darker than previous Scream films.
Yeah.
So I'm not against it. Non-meta. We have to try to get different within the franchise, right? That we have to do something. So maybe you pull the meta out of it and you just go straight Dark Knight on this shit. And you're going to be brutal and you're going to be bloody and, you know, you're not going to focus on, you know, the commentary side of it. I will say this, though, that if you I'll say this. If you're going to do that, make it 75% dark, 25% meta, because I just feel like you still do have to have some type of meta commentary in a Scream movie. You do. It's part of its identity. You can't completely strip the identity away from the film. Otherwise, it's not going to be identified as a Scream movie. So that's how I feel about that. You know, if you're going to lower the meta commentary, because it makes up for like half the movie. You know, if you're going to take some of that out of it from a 50% to a 25% ratio, I'm cool with that. Make it a little bit, give it another 25% to the dark. Let's balance that out.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I totally agree. I 100% agree. I think approaching a Scream film and saying, hey, I want to do this differently is not saying we're going to cut out aspects of it. We're just going to, you know, push the levels. And that's what 5 and 6 have done so well, in my opinion. Like, yes, there is a lot less of maybe, I don't know. I don't even know if this is the right way to phrase it, but I think there's a lot less camp. And they've turned up the darkness a little bit, which is the biggest thing that I think people don't like about it. But like, that's what I love, because it's like, oh, this is new. Like, this feels fresh. Mm-hmm. If they made another movie that feels exactly like Scream 2, I wouldn't be into it. I'd be like, this is just Scream 2 again, you know? And I love that. And I love Scream 2. It's a great movie. But I love that 5 and 6 both stand on their own as their own movies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want another movie that's just exactly Scream 3, exactly Scream 4, you know?
Right.
I love all these movies as they are, but the greatest thing about the Scream franchise is all 6 movies have a different feel from one another.
Right.
That's so crucial to this franchise being so wonderful, and that's what I want for every other movie in the franchise, too.
I agree, man.
So yes, I'm with you, dude. It's levels. I don't know if you can take the meta-ness out of Scream, because even though like 6 is the least meta, it still has so many references in the background and shit. It's never anything in your face like in 1, 2, and 3, or even 4, but like it's there. It still has a conscience. It still has breath in its lungs, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I think you have to have a little bit of that, but you can reduce it. So I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you there. But Daniel, great question, dude. That's a really good question. Mastermind Killer is also saying Sydney would have to be pregnant in Scream 2 to have Sam.
There's a 2-year gap.
There is a 2-year gap between 1 and 2, which is really odd, but it is there.
Right.
I don't know if it makes a whole lot of sense, but yeah, that movie takes place in like 98, but it came out in 97, right? Isn't that like what's going on?
Yeah, they based it in 90. They based the timeline in 98, but it came out in 97. Yep.
That's so weird, man. Like I can't even remember why that is, but I remember it. It's in the movie
Scream
somewhere.
1, once it blew up, man, that shit blew up, and they were like, okay, we want another one ASAP. Once the studio got that bag, Jake, they was like, wait, this movie's that profitable? Come on, let's go. Scream 2, Scream 2. Like
2, 3, 4, let's run it. Yeah.
they wanted to put a rush on that. They was not playing.
I will say, like, I think it's gotta be, I think Billy's gotta be her father, though. Like, I just feel like we've set up so much with that. Like, the hallucinations and all that. It's like, man, there's some kind of tie to Billy Loomis there. But, yeah, I mean, but you make a good point, but both sides. Mastermind Killer, though, thank you for the $2, my friend. I really do appreciate that. And I'm losing my voice so bad, dude, but I'm pushing through.
Shit.
I'm pushing through. I'm gonna take my. I promise this isn't drugs. It looks like drugs, but it's not. It's just throat spray. I always say that because I'm sure someone's gonna type in there and be like, "Dude, stop doing drugs on stream." It's not. It's throat spray. I swear to God.
Shit, man. You just got done having a cold. You gotta try to get better.
There you go. There you go, man. I'm so fucking high right now. No, I'm kidding. Bloody Mary's throwing $5 out there, and Bloody Mary, I got your message on Facebook, and I'm going to write. I didn't want to just write something off the cuff, but I'm going to write something like a whole thing out for you guys, and I really appreciate the kind message. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for the support as well. Saying back to your comment earlier, you can polish a turd as much as you want, but the end result is still Charlie as Ghostface. That's really funny.
Damn, straight shitting on my boy. Damn.
Okay, Marcus, I have so many questions because of this. First of all, who's your, like, how do you feel about Charlie as a Ghostface? And 2, who's your least favorite Ghostface?
Oh, that's my boy, man. Everybody knows that Charlie's my guy, man. Like, I think that Charlie, as a Ghostface, he doesn't get nearly enough credit. He was tenacious, man. Like, you don't have to like the character outside the costume. But when he was in the Ghostface costume, he got after it. And that's what I enjoyed most about Scream 4 was seeing that level of tenacity. I felt like we hadn't seen that type of intensity out of the Ghostface character or in the costume, whoever was behind it, since the original Scream. That's just me. You know what I mean? I felt like in Scream 4 with Charlie, it felt like it was Billy or Stu killing somebody.
Yeah.
And stuff. So for me, Charlie, that's that dude. And if I'd have to say my least favorite Ghostface, see, it's tough because I wish Quinn would have gotten more time. I wish she would have gotten more kills. So it would have to be her, but I'd have to put Amber right there too, because this Amber was just fucking hot garbage to me.
Ooh, that's a hot take. People love Amber, dude.
I know, but I never just got into her. I didn't buy it. I just felt like she was acting like a killer. You know what I mean? Like, she really wasn't a killer. Like what she said. She got sucked into some shit. She was radicalized. She just wanted to be a part of something. She really wasn't a fucking psycho. You know what I mean? And that's key to me. You know what I mean? In terms of a Ghostface killer, because I feel like your psycho game, in terms of putting that costume on, has to be somewhat legit.
Yeah.
Hers wasn't that legit to me. You know, that I'm just like, what the fuck is she doing? Like, it was funny, but it just really didn't. I didn't gravitate towards her.
And you know what, dude? I totally agree, but that's why I like Amber, which is my hot take. Like, I don't think I'm so 100% with you when you say I don't think she's a psycho. I don't think she is. I really think that she just loves the stab movies. And Richie. Can you imagine if his fucking name was Ricky? No. Richie was like, what was basically like, hey, what if we killed a bunch of people and then we gave Hollywood better ideas? And she's like, yeah, my older boyfriend is saying to do that. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's run that.
When you say it like that, it does kind of make her sound a little bit more cooler.
Dude, it's so funny to me, honestly, because like that moment you were just saying, like the you know, and all that, she's making fun of the fact that they're doing this. Like she just like Stu.
That's a good point.
Just like Stu, she does not realize what they're even doing until that moment that she's like, I was radicalized. Oh my God, you know, stop. And for me, it's like, it's so like pathetic. And I think that's what I like. Like she's a coward in my opinion.
Right.
That's kind of what I like about her, even though like I totally see why people would hate her for that reason too. I don't know. I'm fascinated by the character. I think I like her for the same reason that I like Stu. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a similar thing. So
and there's nothing wrong with that, man. You know what I mean? Like I get why some people like Amber. I do. I get it. You know what I mean? She is different from a lot of other killers in the franchise. She is. You just got to know what that difference is. And if you catch that difference, I can understand why you like her. She just wasn't for me. Like, I felt like if they would have written her character, I feel like this. Maybe if it wasn't so obvious it was her, I'd like it a lot better.
That's fair.
The fact that I knew it was her was just like, oh, I knew it was you. This sucks. You know what I mean? Like, for me, you know what I mean? But hey, there's nothing wrong with liking Amber. You like who you like in these films. That's the beautiful thing about the Scream franchise is that there are so many killers that you can pick from because they're all different in their own way that you can like. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beautiful thing about it.
Oh yeah, no, there's so much we could talk about. There's so many rabbit holes we could go down with the different killers and how things happened, what happened behind the scenes. I love it. Like it's so interesting to me. There's so many questions to still be answered. But Bloody Mary, thank you so much for the $5. That's so funny. 100% about polishing the turd, but I don't know. Charlie, I think is underrated. I'm with you. I think Charlie's actually not too bad. But thank you for the $5 nonetheless, my friend. Thank you. Olaf is also throwing another $10 out there, and I really appreciate that again. Thank you so much. Saying, what do you guys think about the opening of Terrifier 3? What is this going to be? I think they hinted at it in the poster. I think Art is going to carve the child's face off. Holy shit.
Man.
It would turn so many stomachs. So yeah, we got to talk Terrifier 3, dude. I mean, there's so much to talk about and much more positive things to talk about with this with this film versus Scream 7. So with that being said, what do you think this controversial opening scene is going to be?
I do think it's going to have something to do with the kid. Otherwise, they wouldn't say it's controversial. Man, whether he goes all the way in and you see the kid get killed off remains to be seen. I do think the kid is at least going to be attacked pretty badly. I don't know. I just feel like this. Let's watch it play out. Let's just watch it play out. I do know that apparently, and Jake, I'm sure you know a little bit more about it than I do, that I guess Hollywood Studios dropped, Terrifier 3 because they said it's entirely too violent. Is that true?
Yes and no. So essentially, like there was never actually a meeting where Damien Leone was like, "Hey, here's my movie," and they're like, "Hey, fuck you, dude! Like, no, we're not making that movie." Technically, that never happened. But Damien has said, like, I don't think like studios would want to make my movie because it's so violent. Like he's like, we have to do this the indie route again, which they are. And I think that's the best route for them. I really do. It makes the most sense. I don't think like a Hollywood studio getting their hands on a Terrifier franchise, someone is going to say, hey, what if we made a PG-13 one? And no one, and I mean absolutely no one wants to see that. And Damien knows that. He wants quality. He wants to build a franchise that him and the fans can be proud of. And that's exactly what's happening here. So, like, yes, that was something that was a headline and all that, but Damien Leone has actually like retweeted that and said like, no, that's not 100% what happens. Like, let's clarify. He did say that though. He did say I had meetings with studios and I was so worried they're gonna read the script and be like, no, we're not making this. We're cutting out that opening scene. So just to clarify, but keep going, my friend.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's obviously again going to have something to do with the kid. It's going to be brutal. Like, this is Terrifier we're talking about here. Like, this isn't for, the weakening of the heart, like, or the stomach or whatever. If you haven't watched these first two films, you're not going to be ready for what they're about to hit us with in the opening of the third. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm just excited. Let's watch it play out. But I'm like I said earlier, I'm even more excited to see where this story is going to end up. Like between Sienna, between her brother, between Art, the little clown girl. Like, I'm even starting to get more invested in her because of what you said in your video, because it made a lot of sense. I'm just like, well, wait a minute. There's a reason they definitely did introduce her in the second one, and she definitely is kind of like a big role in this film, and it does kind of seem like she has some type of control, if you will, over Art. Like, I mean, like, maybe she has something to do with it, and Art is just her. She's just a puppeteer, and she's just putting Art in her way to get him out of the way. There's different avenues you could take with this story, and I'm so excited to see what we're going to get. Like, I'm ready to go, man. You know what I mean? I'm ready to see my girl Lauren LaVar back as Sienna. You know what I mean? It's going down, Jake. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like, Terrifier 3 is going to be the shit, man.
Dude, it is, man. I'm so excited. I think it's going to be great. And dude, it's less than a year away. Less than a year. And we're getting a new like, I feel so spoiled as a horror fan. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't wait.
Right,
dude,
bro?
like,
I'm just hearing the score
months.
go off in my head right now. Like, that's that shit, man. Love it.
It goes hard, man. It's a really good score. Paul Wiley did an excellent job with that, if I'm being real. But yeah, to comment on the opening, I'm with you. I really think what we saw in the teaser trailer, that's the opening scene. I don't know how, I don't know how that's going to play into the rest of the movie, but I do think we're going to start off with some energy this time around. We know, we pretty much know where we're going. Sienna's going to be with relatives. They're staying with family members somewhere, whoever else is their godmother, aunts, uncle, whatever.
Right.
It's going to be something like that, but they're all going to get attacked by Art the Clown. Everyone's going to get killed again, and Sienna's going to have some battle that changes the franchise once again. She's going to know chopping off his head doesn't work this time. Something else is going to have to happen there.
Right.
So I think there's two big things that the two big things I have questions about is, what is that opening scene going to be? I have three questions. I lied. What is that opening scene going to be? What is the big thing that tops all the bullshit from, the bedroom scene from the previous movie? And what is that climax going to be? Because you can't just chop off his head again now. You have to step it up. Like, what is Damien cooking, man? That's
right.
I gotta know.
What's Sienna's dad's connection to Art the Clown?
Yeah. Yes. That's a big one, man. That's
a big one. Like, I remember just watching Terrifier 2, because I watched the first one and I'm just like, what? I actually really fucking like it. I mean, let me watch Terrifier 2. I just remember watching it and I'm just like, man, this is so different. They have a story. Like, there's kind of a backstory here. And I'm just like, wait a minute. I wonder if Art the Clown is her uncle or something. Like, I'm starting to think some Halloween shit. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, wait a minute. The dad is connected to Art in some shape, way, or form. This is why he was drawing Art up. Did he have nightmares? Did he know Art personally? Is he Art? I mean, you never know. I mean, there's so many different directions you can go down. I'm just like, man, let's go. Like, I'm so fascinated to see what Damien has cooked up. And I think it's going to be great, man. Like I was telling my mom or whatever, I said, listen, in terms of new age modern horror slashers, when you think about Scream, when you think about Halloween, Terrifier is that new franchise of its time.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion, some people might think that's a hot take. I don't. I was like, what other newer age, newer charactered horror franchise has captivated horror fans like Terrifier has?
Dude, and here's the other thing about Terrifier too. You know, there is a big group of people that don't like it. You know, that say like, oh, it's just gore, it's this, it's that, whatever. But there was the same kinds of people who were saying things about Scream when it came out. You know, Scream comes out in 96, and some people were like, well, it's not scary. It's not, you know, there's no gore, there's no crazy kills, it's campy, it's whatever. And, you know, I disagree with that, but some people had that take. And now it's regarded as one of the best horror movies ever. You know, I don't know, like, I feel like everyone's opinion is valid, of course, but I do feel like this movie has had such an impact on the horror genre to the point where we'll be talking about it 20, 30, 50 years from now. I think without a doubt, love it or hate it. And there are horror classics I don't like either. I'll be honest. Like, I'm not going to say what they are because I think people might chop my head off, but there's a few of them I'm not crazy about. And but I get why they're classics. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, damn, yeah, no, this had an impact when it came out. It was different. And just like Terrifier 2 is the same thing. It comes out in the wake of, you know, like elevated horror movies and all that. I hate that term, by the way, but that's just what people call them, unfortunately. These movies that are like designed to be thinkers and maybe, you know, like, oh, my farts don't stink. This is better horror than anything else that has come out. No, sometimes I just want to watch a clown chop up a bunch of people into little bits. Sometimes that's all I want. And we just have had a lack of that. It's been a vacuum, and Terrifier 2 filled that void. And so many people are thankful for that. So to me, it makes a lot of sense why this is so popular. And Olaf is also making a really good point about this controversial opening, which we have very much so skewed from, but there's so much to talk about when it comes to Terrifier, dude. Art the Clown has technically already killed children in All Hallows Eve. Have you seen that one?
I have. I got to revisit it, though, because it's been a little bit since I watched it, so I don't remember everything. And it's nothing against that guy, you know, forget his name, who plays Art in that film. He does a good job, but David Allen Thornton, man, like, that's that guy. Like,
he's so good, like born to play the role good. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know if you heard about this. My mom says she saw an interview, and I told her to send it to me because I'm trying to find it or whatever. But she saw an interview where he was talking to somebody, and he said that when people make him upset, like in real life, he thinks of ideas on how Art would want to kill them or whatever, so he can implement it in the movie or whatever. And so he said that's it's how he comes up with his ideas and shit like that. And I'm just like, damn, that's a twisted ass way, man. Like, that's real.
But maybe that's why it works.
That's why it works. Like, I just feel like he is Art the Clown. Like, the mannerisms, when he gets serious, when he's funny, like, all of that. You can't find a better Art the Clown, in my opinion. Nothing against the guy who does Art in All Hallows Eve. Does a good job. But David Allen Thornton is that character.
Yeah, and I mean something else that's I don't know if this is like news or anything, but the guy that played him before technically like wasn't an actor. It was like someone who was close to Damien Leone, who was just happy to have the role. And it's like, don't get me wrong, the guy did a great job for, you know, little to no acting experience, at least in, you know, what I've heard about it. But yeah, I mean, David Howard Thornton is he's perfect. I mean, he's so perfectly casted. And I think Damien Leone even said this about him, saying like he is a clown in real life. Like that's why he that's why he does the role so well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, Olaf makes a great point here. You know, Art the Clown has killed kids before. It's nothing new. We shouldn't be shocked that might happen in Terrifier 3. So I'm with them. I also think like horror needs to push boundaries. You know, it needs to make us feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's not
the fact of just him killing the child; it's how he does it.
Like, I think that's what people have a problem with. You know, I think that's the big part of it, that people are like, I don't want to see, you know, bedroom scene happen to a child. And, you know, maybe if it was something done like tastefully off screen, whatever, but Terrifier is not going to do that, you know?
No, he's going to show you that shit. Like, he just is. He's going to show it to you. Like, no doubt about it.
But I do believe that sometimes you need to make your audience feel uncomfortable, which honestly, if they did do something like that, it would be pushing like boundaries for me. Like, I'm not going to lie. There's shit that's too scary for me, dude. Like there is. And that might fall into that category, but sometimes film needs to do that. And horror is the place for it. You know, you might not be a fan of it. And I respect everyone's opinion, like whatever your take is on it. But I really think like the moment we start to censor horror, the moment we start to say like, hey, you can't do that, and then people abide, that's when horror goes in the gutter. That's when horror is no longer explosive.
Yep, that's when we're going to start getting more PG-13 filter type of horror. You know, to where the only type of stuff that is even going to be remotely like what we're used to seeing in rated R is in the unrated version, and even that's still going to be limited and stuff. So I agree with you in that regard, man. Like, you can't strip horror for what it is. It's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to make you uncomfortable. It's supposed to make you squeamish. Like, it's not supposed to make you feel like a dramatization. It is to a degree because you're trying to tell a story, but at the end of the day, we're supposed to be shook, y'all. I know I want to listen. I'm almost 35. I want to be shook. When I watch a horror movie, I want to be uncomfortable a little bit.
Yeah, dude. Like, I'm with you, man. I'm so with you.
Like, prime example to this day with Scream 3. I think that Marine scene when she's, you know, in Sydney's dream and she's a damn ghost or whatever. That's one of the most, if not the most unsettling scene in the entire Scream franchise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that shit is creepy as fuck. Like,
and for that franchise, it's pushing boundaries. It is.
Right.
Like, that's pushing boundaries in the Scream franchise. And that's cool. I'm like, fuck yeah, that's awesome that we went there. I honestly think in Scream 6, the ladder sequence is pushing some boundaries too.
Yep.
And that's cool, you know? I mean, like, you can compare all you want. You can say, like, oh, you know, Scream 6 sucks because it doesn't have Terrifier 2 kills. But I disagree with that. It's like, no, this is Scream we're talking about. It's not, Art the Clown's not going to show up and rip, you know, Sidney Prescott to pieces. That's not gonna happen in Scream, you know? They're two different franchises, which means the boundaries are different, and that's okay.
Exactly.
And I love it.
There's levels to this shit in horror. Like, there's so many levels.
Absolutely, dude, and that's why I want to see like 100 more horror movies made every single year. But Olaf, thank you so much for the support, my friend. I really do appreciate it, and you make some great points. You really do. Like, shit. I mean, yeah, it's the outrage over that teaser trailer is just it's so odd to me because, like, I get it. Like, I get if you're someone who's like, I don't want to see that, I respect it, but that's horror, baby. You know, that's what we do here.
Exactly. That's my whole thing about it. It's just like, it's supposed to be a horror movie. Like
the most successful horror film of all time. I think that's a correct thing to say about it from 2017. It made like a shit ton of money. Is about a clown eating children.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I don't know what to tell you, dog. Like, that's horror, man. But
exactly.
But in regards to Terrifier 3's Christmas setting, holiday setting, whatever, how do you feel about that? Are you hyped?
Oh, I love it, man. It just seems like it's right for him. And I just remember in that trailer when he comes up with the axe and he's just geeking out and he's got the Santa beard. I'm just like, this motherfucker is really going to be Santa. Let's go. I'm just like, it looks like fun. Like, this looks fun. The whole Christmas setting, art, you know, snow, it's cold outside. Like, let's make it happen, man. Like, I'm all for it. We hardly get these type of movies, you know, in Christmas setting, these slasher type movies. And I'm all for seeing blood in the snow.
Yeah. Yes. No, I'm so down for that. If this guy is walking around,
that shit, man.
If this guy is walking around in the snow, like chopping people up, nothing would make me happier. Like, that would be so cool. Like, I love snowy slashers, and there's just a lack of them. It's a shame.
Yes, dude. There is.
And I don't know, like to me, it's like a kill in the snow is so like, it's so cold and sad. It's like if you die outside in the snow, that's got to be awful. Cause like there's already like, blood leaving your body. You're like already cold to begin with. You got to die faster if you're outside in the cold, right? Like that to me is like a worse death than in the summertime. I don't know. That's my fucked up brain thinking about things. But is there a kill you want to see in Terrifier 3 though, regarding like the snowy setting?
Oh man, like a certain type of kill, like in terms of creativity.
Sure, like I mean, icicle through the eye, something like that. I don't fucking know.
Man, that's a good question, Jake. Maybe something that has something to do with like I want to say like a snowball or whatever, because you have to do something really creative. Maybe like an icicle kill or some shit like that. I don't know. Like, yeah, something that does have something to do with snow and icicle, something. You know what I mean? Yeah. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah. Maybe Art picks up the fucking snow plow and runs some mofos over or something. Like just give us some really cool kills. Let Art be Art.
That's snow plow. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, snow plowing too bad, man. Like it isn't. Let Art do Art. Simple and plain. Give us what we want to see. Give us what we pay for. Just let Art be Art. You know what I mean? Let him be this maniac. He's funny. You know what I mean? He's like, in so many ways, a clown who is a mime as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he does such a good job at one moment having a personality to going to then having no personality. And that makes him unpredictable and scary, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more, man. I love the way that like when he's holding the head in the shop, and he's just like, he's doing the thing, but then like just drops it immediately, like, oh, and then like walks off. That's so funny, dude. I love that. Like, I don't know. I love this movie. I'm so excited for it. But one last thing I wanted to ask you about, and we're probably going to be wrapping up here because I don't think I'm going to have a voice in 10 minutes.
Yeah, buddy, you gotta get that cleared up, man. You know what I mean? Take get some rest and all that shit.
I'm just getting over the cold, so hopefully I should be better by tomorrow, but I don't know. What I will ask, I want to ask you about Saw X though, because like, dude, I loved it, but I'm so curious what your take on the film was.
It's crept into my number 3 favorite in the franchise, behind 1 and 2. Yeah, we just did the rankings last night, and I love Saw X. I love the fact that we got a John Kramer centered Saw film. I thought they did it the right way. Like if this is how you want to do it, focus on a legacy character, this is how you do it. Yeah. Like I absolutely love Sanavi Makati Lung as Cecilia Peterson. I think once we get to that part, it's like, holy shit, this is an entirely different type of test subject that I'm not used to that. But I loved it because it's like she's ruthless. You know what I mean? Like she's a stone cold killer. She's unpredictable. You didn't see that part really coming, I don't think, out of that character.
And let's not spoil the film yet, because it is relatively new and not everyone in the chat has seen it. But yes, what I will say is I couldn't agree more. Like she's an excellent character. Like, oh my God, so well written, and like someone I love to hate. You know what I mean? Like just the most like such a well done character in that regard. And oh my God, like I won't say what the ending is, but it's perfect. Like it's so perfect with what that movie was trying to say, and I love it. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what else I could say without spoiling it, but fuck. Oh, it was so good. Yeah,
really well written, really well paced. And I will say this, I think if they wanted to, there's at least one more film for Tobin to come back and do off of this one. I'll just say that.
Yes. I'm not going to say what, but yes. Oh my God, yes. All right. Let's one more super chat, and then I think I gotta get off, dude. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no doubt, buddy.
I could talk for like 3 more hours about all this shit, but Don Keenum throwing $2 out there. Thank you so much, Don. I really appreciate that. Love the profile picture of the dog, by the way. Art skins somebody and puts their parts on a snowman. I fucking love that. Marcus, what do you think about that, man?
Yeah, let's make it happen. That's a really good idea. Because you can just see him doing that. Like, I think we should get that type of kill in Terrifier 3 for sure. I'm all about it.
Dude, and just have it like he's like cracking up, you know, like sawing someone's nose off and like pushing it into a snowman. I can see it. Oh my God.
I'm just like,
yeah.
Like, all those mannerisms and all that. Yes, let's go.
There's like Christmas carolers like walking by, you know, and they're just like, oh my God. And he's just like, points at him, you know, like dude, that I could, it writes itself. Oh my God, that's so funny. But absolutely, Don, that would be so awesome, man. I just can't wait. There's the possibilities are endless with this film. It's gonna be sick, man. Don, thank you so much for the $2 again. I really appreciate you, dude. Thank you. Marcus, where can everyone find you, by the way, on the interwebs?
Well, I actually did just start. I mean, I don't know why I never thought about this before, but I basically did a whole new outro for my video. So now you can just basically find me on Patreon. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on X, over on Twitter. I made sure I put all my links, down. I never did that before. I would just say in my videos, oh yeah, you guys can follow me on X, Instagram, and all, Patreon. And I'm just like, wait a minute, maybe you should share the link, you know what I mean? So people can find you better on there and stuff. So yeah, you guys can find me on Twitter. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter. I'm not going to call it X or whatever. But you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram and on Patreon. And what's cool about Patreon is I'm actually working on some videos to post on there now. Basically, my Patreon is going to cover the more underrated horror side of, movies and stuff like that. I have a couple movies I want to talk about, like Smiley. There's The Hills Run Right. You ever seen Smiley, Jake?
Is that the one with like Shane Dawson and all that? Is that what you're talking about or no?
No, that one is has Keith David in it. It has Roger Bart from Hostel.
Oh shit! What? Okay.
Yeah, he plays a professor in it, and it's in 2012. And if you're a Scream fan, you'll like this movie. That's all I'm gonna say. And stuff. It's especially the ending. It's like, damn, okay, it's good. I enjoyed it, but basically just doing a lot of underrated horror movie stuff, like The Town That Dreaded Sundown, like
very underrated.
Very underrated. You know what I mean? So that's what my Patreon is gonna start being about and all that stuff. I got those videos coming out and stuff. So it's gonna be great, man. I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be back to doing content.
Hell yeah, we're glad you're back, man. I like I said, I saw you in the chat, and I'm just like, oh my God, is Marcus back? Like, what's up? So yeah, we're glad to have you back, man. So thanks for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, my friend. Definitely got to do this more often when we can.
Without a doubt, dude. Absolutely, man. Well, thank you all for joining us tonight in this crazy conversation. Sorry, I pretty much lost my voice by the time we got here, but hey, we made it. That's what matters. Thank you all again to everyone who supported the page tonight. If you're a channel member, just watching, like honestly, support. So thank you. Thank you to everybody who showed up and hung out with us tonight. Really does mean a lot. I gotta go. Love talking with all you guys, and as always, well, don't forget to kill it out there. Peace out, everybody.